Hello viewers, welcome back to English Only Zone. Today I am back again with a poem of class 12th ISC syllabus. The poem is John Brown. It is one of the easiest poem in class 12th syllabus, but it contains a lot of details on which you should focus while studying this poem. As a student of class 12, it is important for you to have a detailed analysis of this poem while you are studying it. So, take a pencil in your hand and keep on writing all the words which I am speaking in the explanation of this poem, all the difficult words which I am speaking in the explanation of this poem, so that you may not miss any important detail. And also, these words will help you in writing effective answers when you will enter the examination hall on the day of your board exam. So watch this video and do listen to me carefully. Also, here's a request to you. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe it. And if you like the video, if you like the explanation, don't forget to press the like button. Let us first understand the theme of the poem. Its theme is futility of war. Futility means the uselessness of war. Wars are always useless. They do not contain any useful thing in it. It's destruction of life, property, and the impact of war. Maybe it is fought in any of the country. It can be seen anywhere, and it is seen till generations. It is not just one generation. And the most common example of the destruction of war, which has led the generations to suffer, is the Hiroshima and Nagasaki war, where there was a bomb blast, nuclear bomb explosion in the two cities of Japan. Their generations had to suffer because of this war. The second is nationalism. The full poem, especially in the first, second or third stanza, till first or second stanza, we can clearly see the feeling of nationalism in the heart of only there are two characters in this poem. In their heart, we can see the feeling of nationalism. Then we have disillusionment. Disillusionment means we were in an illusion. Illusion means thinking of having a dream. So it is disillusionment means like we have got up from a dream. We have got up from a sleep and our dream is broken. In the poem also we can see when the soldier, that is John Brown, he exclaimed that, "Oh Lord, just like mine." This line is the best example of disillusionment about war and the harsh truth about the war. Also, he then realized when he spoke this line that what a war actually is, how futile it is, how destructive it is. So, these are the themes of this poem. Take a note of all the words which I am telling you, all the things which I am telling you, so that you may not miss the details. Now, let's study about the poet. Although it's not from examination point of view, but still you should know who is the poet, and you should also know something about him. Bob Dylan is an American singer-songwriter. He is an American musical icon of folk and rock music and the voice of his generation. He moved from folk to rock. Earlier he used to compose folk songs, folk music. Now he is composing the rock music, infusing his lyrics with poetry. He is also writing song-cum poems and setting the standard for lyric writing. So this was all about the poet Bob Dylan. Now let us study about the poem. It clearly shows that it's an anti-war poem. It has a sense of pacifism. What does pacifism means? It is the idea of thinking that wars are not justifiable, and all the disputes, all the disagreements should be settled peacefully without having any war. It the whole poem revolves around the story on the lives of John Brown and his mother. His mother's name is not given. And it also shows that there is no nobility in wars and they should not be fought. John Brown is an anti-war poem composed and sung by Bob Dylan. And this song is the expression of singer's deep-rooted sense of pacifism. Note down this word, pacifism. It means the thinking that wars are not justifiable and all the disagreements, disputes should be settled peacefully without having any wars. So this poem is actually a story of an American mother who sends her son, John Brown, to fight a war on some foreign shore, on some foreign land. Shore means land. This song or this poem, it explains the happenings in the lives of that soldier, John Brown, and his mother. Now here, the poet shows the true condition of soldiers, it shows the reality. He shows the reality of the soldiers who are sent to some foreign shore to fight a war, and he also questions the nature of the war. He tells that there is no nobility in war, and we should highlight the idea of pacifism instead of fighting a war. Now, let us understand this poem stanza-wise. John Brown went off to war to fight on a foreign shore. His mama sure was proud of him. He stood straight and tall in his uniform and all. His mama's face broke out in a grin. So, in the very start or at the very start of the poem, Bob Dylan, the poet, starts telling a story. The poet tells that the story about a soldier, John Brown, who was going to fight a war on some foreign shore. Shore, I told you, it means land. His mother was very proud that he was going to serve his nation. He was going to do something great. He stood straight and tall in his uniform and all. So he came dressed up in his soldier's uniform, and he was standing straight, tall. Here the words straight, tall, uniform, all these words show that John Brown was proud to be a soldier, and his body language also showed that he was very proud on being a soldier. His mama's face broke out all in a grin. Grin means smile. His mother also started smiling, looking her son dressed in the uniform of a soldier. Stanza 2 is, "Oh son, you look so fine. I'm glad you're a son of mine. You make me proud to know you hold a gun. Do what the captain says, lots of medals you will get. And we'll put them on the wall when you come home." So in the second stanza of this poem, we can see the mother of John Brown. She was talking to her son, and she says to him that he looks so fine, he looks so good in that uniform. And she was proud, she was happy. Glad means happy that he was her son. "You make me proud to know you hold a gun." And she further said to her son that he is making her feel proud that he is a soldier now. She has raised a soldier now, and he is also holding a gun. He is going on some foreign shore to fight a war for his nation. She also instructed her son. She said, "Do what the captain says. Lots of medals you will get." She instructed her son that he has to do only what his captain says, and then he will get lots of medals. And when he will come home, he will come back home from war, she will put them all on the wall for display, on the wall of her house. The mother here is ignorant of the realities of war. She has believed that her son is going to come home physically fit, no mental trauma. She does not actually realize the futility of war and the destruction caused by war. So she's too proud to realize that war is no game, and she might never see her son again. It might happen, but all she is thinking that her son is going for a war. He will fight there, he will win, he will come back home with lots of medals, and then those medals will be hung on the wall, displayed on the wall of their house, and she will call the people from her neighborhood, and they will praise the son and the mother also, who has raised a soldier. Let's come to the third stanza. As that old train pulled out, John's ma began to shout, telling everyone in the neighborhood, "That's my son, that's about to go. He's a soldier now, you know." She made well sure her neighbors understood. Now, as the train pulled out means as the train left the station, the train started. John's ma began to shout. She started shouting. She started boasting in her neighborhood. She started telling her this thing to everyone, that that's my son, that's about to go. He's a soldier now, you know. That he was her son who was about to go on a foreign shore to fight a war, and he's a soldier now. She says to everyone in the neighborhood so that everyone may come to know that he is her son. She made well sure her neighbors understood what she was trying to make them understand, that she has raised a soldier, and she thinks that there is all glory in the war, there is no bloodshed, and her son will return unscratched. He will return home unscratched. The fourth stanza says, she got a letter once in a while, and her face broke into a smile as she showed them to the people from next door, and she bragged about her son with his uniform and gun. And these things you called a good old-fashioned war. So in the fourth stanza, we see that John Brown is away at war, and his mother is at home, and once in a while she receives a letter from him. Her face breaks into a smile while she reads the letter. She then shows the letters to her neighbors, and she starts bragging about her son. She boasts about her son. Brag means to speak highly about someone. To speak highly about ourselves also. We can brag about ourselves, we can boast about ourselves, and we can brag about other people also. And all she can think is her son is wearing a uniform, having a gun, holding a gun, fighting the war bravely. And she brags the good old-fashioned war as if it was some just a common event. It was not a dangerous thing. She brags about the war as if it was a very common event. This poor mother, why I'm saying her poor is because of her thinking, irrational thinking. This mother has no idea about the realities of war. Now let's see what the fifth stanza says. Then the letters ceased to come. For a long time they did not come. They ceased to come for about 10 months or more. Then a letter finally came saying, "Go down and meet the train. Your sons are coming home from war." Now after a while, the son's letter stopped coming. For a long time, John Brown did not write anything to his mother. It was about 10 months or more. She could get no letter from him. Maybe because he was fighting the war during that time, or maybe he was not capable of writing any letter to anyone. So one day a letter came to her which stated that her son was coming home from war, and that she should go down and meet him at the station, at the train. She smiled and went right down. She looked everywhere around, but she could not see her soldier son in sight. But as all the people passed, she saw her son at last. When she did, she could hardly believe her eyes. So after reading the letter, the mother was very, very happy. She went right down to meet her son at the station, John Brown, who has returned home from war. She searched him everywhere at the station, but she could not find her son there. Here, uh, her soldier son, why is it written soldier? Because the mother was expecting to see the soldier whom she had sent, whom she had bid farewell at the time when he was going to fight on a foreign shore. That's why she is saying soldier son. So when all the people passed from there, the crowd dismissed, she found her son. But when she saw him, she could not believe her eyes. There was something unbelievable which she saw. On his face, oh, his face was all shot up, and his hand was all blown off, and he wore a metal brace around his waist. He whispered kind of slow, in a voice she did not know, while she couldn't even recognize his face. Oh Lord, not even recognize his face. So now what the poet has written in the seventh stanza, he has described John Brown's condition, his state, when he returned to his hometown after fighting the war, when he returned to his mother after fighting the war, to his proud mother, I could say. We can see that his face was all shot up and his hand was also blown off. It was also shot off. And he wore a metal brace round his waist to keep him standing. He could not even stand on his own. There was a metal brace round his waist which helped him to stand straight. He has undergone a lot of physical injuries in the war. His arm was amputated, and his face also had many scars. He seems to be lucky, even if he's alive. He seems to be lucky that he's alive after receiving so many injuries in the battle. But his condition is not limited just to a physical harm, which can be seen from a distance also. What mental trauma he might have undergone in that situation, in that difficult situation, that can be just imagined. We cannot actually understand what trauma he might have faced, he might have undergone. And when he speaks, his voice was so slow, it was unrecognizable even by his mother, who had heard him speaking from the day one, when he had cried after his birth. Since that time, the mother had kept on hearing her son's voice, but she was also unable to recognize his voice at this point of time. While she couldn't even recognize his face. A mother can never she can forget her children's face. But today, this mother, John Brown's mother, she could not even recognize her son's face. Oh Lord, not even recognize his face. This line is repeated to show that how can a mother forget her son's face? So it was something which was a disaster, that so many injuries he has received. His face was all scratched up, that his mother also could not recognize him. Let's read the next stanza. Oh, tell me, my darling son, pray tell me what they done. How is it you come to be this way? He tried his best to talk, but his mother could hardly move. His mouth could hardly move, and the mother had to turn her face away. Now, his mother asked. She was in a totally disbelief. She was in utter disbelief after seeing the condition of her son. So she asked him that how he came to be in this way and what had happened to him. She was shocked, she was concerned, she was also hurt to see her son in this poor condition. Now, John Brown also, he tried his best to talk, but he could hardly move his mouth because of the injuries. And seeing him in this condition, seeing her son in this condition, the mother could not bear it and she had to turn her head away, maybe to hide her tears. Don't you remember, Ma? When I went off to war, you thought it was the best thing I could do. I was on the battleground. You were home, acting proud. You wasn't there standing in my shoes. A very, very pinching line John Brown said here. He condemned his mother's act that who had forced him to become a soldier. His mother thought that joining the army, becoming the soldier, was the best thing her son could do. But she was not right. He did not find it a good thing at all. When he was on the battlefield fighting in the war, he realized that it was not a good thing. He also said to his mother that, don't you remember when I went to the war? You went for the war. When I was going from the station, you were bidding me farewell. You thought that it was the best thing I could do, and you were also boasting about me to your neighbors. I was there fighting on the battleground, and you were sitting at home in a peaceful condition. You did not even think about my state, my condition when I was fighting in the war. You wasn't there standing in my shoes. Standing in my shoes means being in someone's condition. If someone is hurt, if someone is in some troublesome condition, when we ourselves enter in that condition, that is standing in my shoes, standing in the shoes. So he here ironically or sarcastically tells his mother that she was not there fighting the war along with her son. She could not understand the disasters caused by a war. Oh, and I thought when I was there, God, what am I doing here? Am I trying to kill somebody or die trying? But the thing that scared me most was when my enemy came close and I saw that his face looked just like mine. Oh Lord, just like mine. So he further says about his experiences of war in this stanza. He says that when he was in the battlefield, he wondered why he was even there. He was trying to kill somebody. It was a do or die situation. In war, it is always a do or die situation. Either you kill your enemy or your enemy will kill you. So he was thinking, see, this soldier, this person, John Brown, was a very good person at heart. That's why he has realized that the person in front of him, the enemy in front of him, looked just like him. That is a human being. He realized that he was killing another human being in order to save his own life. That was something very pitiful about a war. He didn't even know that why he was killing that person. See, soldiers are not always told the reason of war, especially in those circumstances, in the earlier circumstances. Do you remember the poem After Blenheim? You have studied that poem in class 9th in ICSE board. That poem is also about the futility, about the irrational thinking of people about the war. There was the grandfather, old Casper. He was also praising the war. He kept on praising the war about the outcome of the war, their victory. But he hardly realized why the war was fought. So same was here with the soldier, this John Brown. He wasn't knowing actually why he was fighting the war, why he was killing that person, his enemy. But he had to kill because it was the order. He says that the thing that scared him the most was that when his enemy came close, he realized that his face just looked like him. That is a human being. And that's why this line is repeated here. Now, here comes the second last stanza of this poem. And I couldn't help but think, through the thunder rolling and sting, that I was just a puppet in a play. And through the roar and smoke, this string is finally broke, and a cannonball blew my eyes away. Now here, John Brown was thinking that he was just a puppet in the hands of warmongers who were playing with them. Like we play with puppets, or the owner of the puppets play in the puppet show. Similarly, his life, or he was the puppet in this show of war. Whether he lived or died did not matter to the warmongers, to the owner of the puppet. All that mattered to them was the victory and the victory. The poet Bob Dylan compares war with a puppet show, and it is a very appropriate metaphor. War and the puppet show. It is a metaphor. Soldiers have to just follow the orders to kill people, and whatever they are asked to do, they had to do. However, his string of thought was broken as a cannonball came through the smoke and roared and blew his eyes away. It means a cannonball was stuck in his eyes and he lost his sight. As he turned away to walk, his ma was still in shock at seeing the metal brace that helped him stand. But as he turned to go, he called his mother close and he dropped his medals down into her hand. A very pitiful stanza. Now, John Brown has finished telling his story to his mother, that how he received so many injuries, and now when he turns to walk away from her, his mother was still in a great shock. Why she was in a great shock? She was seeing the metal brace, because of which her son was standing straight. When she sent her son away to war, she saw him as a young, handsome youth who was wearing a uniform. He was standing straight, tall, and she was proud on bidding farewell to him. But now what she was seeing was a broken man who returned to her in bits and pieces. She was still in shock to realize what loss she has got from that war. She lost her son almost. And just as John Brown turned to go, he called his mother close to him and he dropped his medals down into her hand. That was all what she wanted from him, na? She did not realize that she's sending her son to a war, and maybe he will come alive, or maybe he will receive his body. But all that mattered to her were the medals. So now when John Brown came this day, came back to his hometown, he dropped all his medals into her mother's hands, because all was that she wanted. This was an overwhelming scene. The act of John Brown placing the medals on his mother's hand leaves us questioning if a medal can be taken as the token of pride. So, what the damage he will carry throughout his life, can a medal repair the damage what he has received for his life? Whether he'll be able to stand on his own feet without the metal brace ever in his life? So all these questions remain unanswered, but we can surely answer from our own rational thinking. So this was all in the poem. I hope you have understood it. Although it was a big poem, the explanation also might be a lengthy one this time, but I wanted to complete it in this video only. I did not want to make another video on this poem because of its easy nature. So if you have any doubts, you may always write them in the comment box so that I may answer you. Clarify your doubts, ask your queries, and keep on preparing for your exams. All the best and take care.